BRM second chapter, sixth video. In this video, let us understand the other method of sampling technique, that is non-probability sampling. Before moving on with the meaning of non-probability sampling, first let us brush up the meaning of probability sampling. Well, probability sampling is nothing but the entire target population, they have an equal chance of being selected as samples for further study, whereas it is quite opposite in non-probability sampling. In non-probability sampling, the entire target population, it's not known and it doesn't have an equal chance of being selected as samples for the research. The researcher, when he is adopting the non-probability sampling, he is not going to select the samples on the basis of any random selection. Instead of applying the random techniques, what he is going to do is, on the basis of his some personal judgment, or he applies the convenience to select the samples from the target population. That's nothing but the non-probability sampling. Let me repeat. The probability, it's nothing but the chance of being selected of the entire population or the target population is not known, and they don't have an equal chance of being selected as samples under the case of non-probability sampling. It's why, because the units, that is the sample units, are chosen by the researcher on the basis of his personal judgment or on the basis of his convenience. So that's the reason it doesn't have an equal chance to be selected as sampling as in the case of probability sampling. So let's understand the different types of non-probability sampling. There are around 5 types of non-probability sampling techniques, that is convenience sampling, quota sampling, judgmental is also known as purposive sampling, snowball sampling, self-selection is also known as voluntary response sampling. So first, let's understand about the convenience sampling. This also, as the word itself says, when the researcher feels that the respondents are more approachable to be contacted and is very convenient to contact or choose those respondents, he is going to adopt this type of sampling technique. You can see in the picture very clearly where the researcher is over here, and the persons who is very near to him, he is selecting those persons for his study. Yeah, you can see here the researcher is here and the persons are very near to him, who is very convenient for him to approach them, so he is selecting those persons for his study. So the main advantage of this sampling technique is that this technique is very low cost and it also saves time. It is easy to understand. It is more used by the researchers. The main disadvantage of this sort of convenience technique is that it does not provide the representative result. Why? Because it's not contacting all the samples. It's just contacting who is very near and who is approachable, easy approachable to the researcher. In this case, he even after getting the even after he gets the information from these samples, it does not represent the entire result. So the bias is also not controlled in this. Bias in the sense, so since he is approaching to the people who is very near to him, he cannot say that the information which is given by him is completely true. Why? Because the persons who is more comfortable to him, we may not say that they are very true in giving the answers for that. So the bias cannot be controlled or measured in this. And as a result, there would be a high sampling error as well. So these are the main disadvantages. Let's move on with the next, that is quota sampling. Well, quota sampling is nothing but just like the stratified sampling which we discussed under the probability sampling, similar to that type of study, here also the entire population is divided into subsets. After dividing into subsets, then the researcher is going to select few samples based on his judgment. Remember, the person, that is the researcher, he is not going to select the samples just randomly. Instead of selecting it as randomly, what he is going to do is he's going to apply some judgment in selecting the people or the samples from that particular strata or a group. So why this quota sampling got the name of quota is that you can observe here with a example. So here the researcher will have some quota to be filled from each group. Let us see this picture here. There are different categories of the people over here. So the quota which is given to the researcher is that the male respondents, that is he has to collect the male from the people, that is the male respondents who is aged above 50. So this is the quota or a criteria which he has to fulfill. Okay, so that's the reason he is selecting only from this group, only the male persons above 50. So this is nothing but the quota sampling. So main advantages and disadvantages of this is it is cost effective and it is more extensively understood and used. But it's cost effective, but the thing is it is so time consuming because he has to meet the quota for each and every strata or group, and sample selection is not random, so that's why even though it's cost effective but it is so time consuming because from each and every group or a strata he cannot just pick the samples randomly, but he has to apply some judgment and then he has to pick the samples for a study. That's why it is that's why it's called very time consuming. So the other type of non-poverty sampling is that judgmental sampling. So here also we can go with the word of judgment. So what the researcher is going to do is he's going to employ his or her own expert judgment about selecting the samples from the overall population. You can very clearly observe in this picture where the number of people are there. What the researcher is doing is he is applying his judgment and picking the person whom he feels that the person could give a quality response. Only that person he is going to pick him as his respondent. You can observe in this picture also there are a number of population. What the researcher is doing is here is he's applying some judgment and picking the samples according to his judgment. The main advantages over here is so there will be more accuracy in terms of quality response because the researcher is seeing whether that person could give a proper response or not. So the quality response would be more, that is a main advantage of it, and it meets the specific objectives. So the bias would be, I mean, the person who gives the answer, he will give a proper quality answer so that it will meet the specific objective. The main disadvantage over here is sometimes the biased selection of sample may occur in the sense the researcher, since he is judgmental, suppose if he is not doing this work properly and if he is choosing just based on his convenience kind of, then the bias would occur, I mean error would occur, so that the bias selection may occur, but it is only applicable for few researchers. Okay, then the another disadvantage is that since it's a judgmental sampling, he has to see whether the person is eligible to be answered for his survey or whether he is fit to be a part of his sample. So it's time consuming process. So the other non-poverty technique is that snowball sampling. And the snowball sampling, what the researcher do is first he is going to approach to a key person whom he know, then he asks to the further respondents which the key person knows. It is just like a chain, it becomes a chain. You can observe in this particular figure. So the researcher approaches one person whom he know that he is eligible to give a proper response to this person. Then he will ask to to refer few other respondents. So this person has referred few respondents. So again he contacts this persons, then again he asks to refer to the other persons. So like this he builds a chain in order to collect the information from the people. So let's understand why this sort of snowball sampling is applied in what situations. Where suppose the collecting the information for from the people, if the locating this sort of people is very rare, then this sampling technique could be applied. For example, in case of illegal actions like drug usage, or if there is a cheating in exams, for this sort of unacceptable societal behavior, what the researcher could do is he can approach to one sort of people whom he is comfortable and whom he is known and who believes that he can extract some information. So he approached to one key person and he asked to refer other persons to that key person. So that is how a tree or a chain builds up. That's why it's called as snowball sampling. So let's understand what are the main advantages to it. It's low cost because you're first approaching to the key person and then you're contacting to the other persons. So the next is the useful and special circumstances, specific circumstances for locating the rare population. As I just told you now, so it is very useful if your population or your samples who they are there, if they are locating in a very rare, if there is a rare population, then it's very difficult, and this sort of sampling would be choosable. The main disadvantages of the researcher is the researcher has little control over the sampling method because the person, that is a key person, whomever he refers to, this researcher has to believe that person. Therefore, he has less control over this sampling method. The next one is self-selection sampling. Self-selection sampling occurs when the individual themselves who are interested come forward and ask a researcher that they are desired to take part in the research. That is, voluntarily the people come forward to be selected and they by their self-interest they give the response to the researchers. So that sort of technique is nothing but self-selection sampling technique. So if the researcher adopts this kind, first he has to give an advertisement so that the people who are interested, self-interested, they come forward to give the response to their researchers. So the main advantage of this is it's more accurate because with the self-interest, the people come forward to give the answer. That's why it's more accurate, and it's useful in specific circumstances to serve the purpose. So even in specific circumstances where you want a genuine answer for that particular research types, it is very useful to adopt this self-selection sampling technique. The disadvantages is that it is costly due to advertising and only few people come forward and the other mass are left aside. This is the main disadvantage of this particular sampling technique. So that's all about the different types of non-properties sampling technique. We have discussed total 5 types. Convenience, which is convenient for the researcher. Quota sampling, there will be certain quotas. To meet up that quota, what the researcher is going to do is going to divide the population into different stratas. From that, he is going to adopt some judgment to fill that quota and then he selects the samples. Judgment or purposive sampling, he adopts some expert or judgment while choosing the samples. Snowball sampling, first he contact one key person and he ask him to refer other persons, so it builds up a chain. That's called snowball sampling. Self-selection or voluntary response, the people they themselves come forward in order to give the response. That's nothing but this self-selection or voluntary sampling technique. So in the next video, let us understand about the sampling error.